This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of bringing to our channel Gary Kleinman, a UCLA law degree and entrepreneur, tackling the powdered and energy drink market. We're going to talk about his desire to be in the industry, what he's about to accomplish, and how we are going to get this in the hands of athletes and weekend warriors. So, Gary, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, we don't see a lot of UCLA or, Ivy League attorneys, entering the space as an entrepreneur. So obviously you've had an interesting road and probably followed your passion and desires and not just your diploma. So tell us how you got to here.
Yeah, I litigated for, 18 years. And I always say I hated it for 20. It's a great education, use it every day, terrible business. And I had an awful, I was a plaintiff litigator in a terrible case that soured me on the system. I just can't do this anymore. And I ended up working at a marketing company that claimed a long time ago that they needed mature help. So I thought that excluded me more than it included me.
Right.
And I went there and it just made sense to me. And I realized after doing that for several years, that being in the marketing world and being a litigator is much the same thing. You're telling a story. It's just a different story. And that made it a lot easier. So for a lot of years, I had an experiential marketing agency that focused on mobile tours for MLB, NFL, Warner Brothers. We took the soup Nazi around the United States with a food truck and gave mulligatawny soup and what have you. And then I read an article about gaming, and a 17-year-old female gamer and played in a League of Legends tournament, 17,000 people. And I thought that there's no way 17,000 people are watching somebody play a video game. So I thought, well, that's kind of cool. There's a lifestyle and culture. So I created a digital media network around lifestyle and culture of gaming that still is on Comcast, sold that, and looked at health, wellness, and nutrition for gamers. That they got a lot of issues in terms of carpal tunnel, focus, attention, memory, all that other fun stuff. And in developing products for them, realized that they're all substantially dehydrated by sitting for 6 hours and not having the attention and then the fatigue and the muscle contractions but they can't go to the bathroom because you're going to lose. So I sat down with our science guys and said, they need hydration. They can't drink. Let's come up with a different delivery system. An electrolyte boost is the response to that delivery system. So as I developed that, and I thought it would be easy to develop it, the electrolytes are all salt, right? Magnesium, sodium, chloride. Nobody wants to take a mouthful of salt. So I thought we got to make it taste good. And I thought that would take about 2 weeks. That was a year and a half off, just a slight year and a half off. But we finally came up with a formula, much like Pixie Sticks, if you remember Pixie Sticks.
Sure.
And you just tear off the top, put it in your mouth. Tastes great. It gets absorbed by your tongue in your chi. Therefore, it's in your blood system right away. So you're getting the benefit of not only the electrolytes, but acetylcholine, which is a clinically proven ingredient that improves memory, attention. So as we're doing that for gamers, everyone kept saying, well, I'm a surgeon. I'm in a 6-hour surgery. I can't leave the surgical suite to go to the bathroom, but I'm getting dehydrated. Truck drivers don't want to stop at a truck stop. They get paid by the mile. So the more that we can keep them on in a truck, reduce their fatigue, and they drive longer, it works there. The military, there's all these applications. So we decided to spin off Electrolyte Boost as its own brand. And we are the only electrolyte support product in the market not dependent on water.
Gotcha. As you take a look at the gaming industry, I saw a great commercial in Asia that was done. I think it was Nike. It kind of like took these kids through like an athletic boot camp where they were doing all sorts of, like Dance Revolution. They would get like balls thrown at them, to get their instinct. They were actually like running, to get some like stamina and endurance. So when you take a look at the primary, the frustration you were solving, which is always the best way to start a company, is actually solving somebody's problem and then commercializing that and finding other people that have that same problem. The gaming industry, has exploded to the point where, advertising into the gaming industry, is that a cost-effective channel? Is that too fragmented? Because a lot of health clubs are, highly distributed, and the gaming industry doesn't really have, like, Monster, I guess, is attached to like the UFC or MMA. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but how do you kind of, get your
Great point. Great conversation. Sat on several panels having that same conversation. Gaming is interesting. When you look at football or you look at baseball, it's the same right? Baseball, 9 innings, same positions, games all the same. Gaming is not. It's really a cluster of now tens of thousands of games. And each of those games have siloed audiences. So if you're a League of Legends fan, you're not playing Overwatch. Or if you're a Formula One video person, you're not playing, Lord of the Kingdom or whatever the heck is out there. So it's really hard to target individual titles as opposed to games. There's an interesting phrase in marketing or in business, and that is, it's easy to find the gap in the market. It's really hard to find the market in the gap. And esports, interestingly enough, might well be in many respects a gap in the market of which there may not be a market in that gap. And we've seen it with digital media. The esports teams on a professional level right now are all struggling. There's not a true revenue model attached to pure esport. So I think that there's a challenge. Gaming may well just be gaming with your friends and getting better, or watching out on Twitch to get better, and not necessarily be monetized.
So as I tried the product at, I wasn't at a gaming event. There were a lot of appetizers. I was at the second, mezzanine of a bar in New York City. So thanks, Mark, for setting up that networking event. Once it hit my tongue, what reminder I had in my brain was watching a World Cup soccer game, and the guys grabbing water from the side, drinking the water, and then spitting it out, because they did not want that extra, like, 10 ounces or 20 ounces of water weight that was going to potentially, like, give them that micro or millisecond, disadvantage, on a corner kick. So as I thought about what you're providing, it seemed to me like it might solve some of the frustrations with athletes that are so hyper-focused on what my playing weight is, how my body is reacting. Am I bloated playing, striker in soccer? Like, that's not how I want to feel. I want to feel like, like a gazelle. So are there any touch points like that kind of, like, filter into, like, where this could, like, land? Is
no question. I was in a meeting yesterday with a gentleman that owns through 3 MMA league and organizations, and his fighters have an issue at weigh-in, right? They've got to be at a weight so that they don't take water,
right,
because of the weight. And then after weigh-in, they got 4 hours before they fight. They got to start getting fluids and what have you. So there's a misnomer in the world, so to speak, in terms of what is hydration. Most people think, if I drink just water, I'm hydrated. And the reality is that is anything but accurate. You need your electrolytes, because that's what is in your cells and triggers all the muscle contractions and all the things that electrolytes do. They don't need to be taken together. In fact, in many respects, they should be taken apart or separately. And we just looked at that and said the application, as you just, adroitly pointed out, is that an athlete, look at every football timeout. They sip. Why? Because they can't take the weight of water. There's nowhere to go to the bathroom. I think it's funny when we talk to our football players at halftime, you see the team running to the locker room, and for years, I thought they were running because they wanted to hear the coach. They're actually running to be the first to go pee, right? And that's why they're running off the field. So there are so many instances where even non-athletically, how many times, Peter, have you been on an airplane and you look down the aisle and go, I don't want to go to the bathroom, but I'm cramping up. I'm foggy. I'm getting jet lag.
Yep.
Or you're at a music festival, or you're a cyclist. You're just a recreational cyclist, and you don't want to carry them. And that's the application for electrolyte. And because it goes into your blood system right away, you feel it right away. Yeah, I've got a couple grandkids. They won't take Pedialyte, but they'll take this. And Pedialyte is just liquid, electrolyte. Well, they don't like the taste of it. So we work really hard to have a good tasting product, which I hope you thought it was good tasting,
I did.
and works.
So I drink a lot of Pedialyte, and I'm so surprised that they can't just give me like 5 flavors that taste good. Everything's got to be some concoction of like, mango or apricot. I'm like, bro, just give me like orange or give me lemon or grape. I just don't understand why things have to get so confusing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that. I laugh because in our product formulation, flavoring was such a prolonged conversation, right? And if you come out with orange, there's X number of people that was, I can't stand orange, right? If you come out with grape, there's X number of people that say we don't like grape. So we actually spent a lot of time coming up with a single flavor called the original flavor. And everybody seems to think it's something different. I was actually at a American Ninja Adventure Park 2 days ago with some of the ninjas, and somebody said, "Oh, it's cucumber." I looked at them and said, "You're right. Well, there's no cucumber in there at all. But if that's what you think it is and you like it, you're right." And it just, with flavors, if you give it to 10 people, 4 like it, 4 don't, and 2 don't care. So a flavor
some of those I'm hoping that like at least 1 out of 10 people like it, because it's definitely not.
You would
doesn't
hope.
resonate with me, right?
You would hope. And we spent a lot of time getting the flavors right. But then if you look at the application, if you're at a gym and you see all these people, carrying around jugs and jugs and jugs of water, what they're really doing is, as they're drinking that, is they're flushing out the electrolytes that are in their body. And then they got to interrupt their workout by going to the bathroom, where you can take electrolyte boost, work out, not worry about the weight of the water. And when you're done working out, you want to refuel with some fluids, feel free to do it. So
Gotcha.
we look at electrolyte boost as giving people about 2 or 3 additional hours of whatever it is that they're doing and performing better while they do them, without the demands of water, bathrooms, and wasted plastic.
So let me flip the conversation to, Gary, the entrepreneur, in this industry that is not regulated. And I'm going to bring up something now that I just saw yesterday about this new drink called Prime, which has like 200 milligrams of caffeine. They've also got a hydration drink. It's by 2 YouTube guys, and they're selling a lot. And then you kind of stop and say, I've spent a lot of time on the science here. This is actually what's good for you. This is what's not good for you. So how do you as an entrepreneur kind of, stay, moving down the highway when there's so much marketing dollars that just kind of create, random noise and confusion that it almost like brings the whole category off kilter. And then you got to kind of pull it back. And like, when do you think that education kind of wins?
I appreciate you bringing that up. Again, it's a conversation. I mean, you must be eavesdropping. Prime and what's going on with Prime is awful in terms of the amount of caffeine being targeted to kids. And even says on the bottle, it's not for, children under 15. Yet that's who they're marketing to. When I see things like that, especially with 15-year-olds, my first question is, where are the gatekeeper parents looking at what their kids are eating? Marketing is marketing. You're never going to stop it. We looked at it differently. We have a scientist on our board, our chief science officer. She created the first sports protocol nutrition program with the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick 14 years ago. She's an expert on hydration, and she consults the Olympic team and basketball teams and what have you. We reduced the sodium in our content versus what a lot of other products have, because sodium is not that great for you in large doses, and the American diet has lots of sodium. We live on education. We live on the fact that we're putting in acetylcholine into our formula. It works. And the challenge when you don't have a Gatorade budget or a Pepsi budget who bought Prime is you got to look at niche markets, look at, the gyms, look at certain sports, work with influencers in that sport, give them product, make sure they like the product. And if they do, they'll support it. And it's a slow burn. We can't hammer people over the head. We do have a unique selling point in that we're not water dependent. So for people, and then there are people that, have feeding tubes or don't have access to water. It's great for them. If you're a roofer, it's great. So we look at it from the viability and the efficacy of our formulation first and foremost, in taste. And that's what we sell on, is it's good. And there's always going to be somebody with more money, but there's always a brand that at some point in time does something. If the product isn't efficacious, you look at Prime, whether kids buy it or not, the brand's tarnished, because now you got Congress knocking on their door and saying, what are you doing? And interestingly enough, there are a lot of other products with the same amount of casein, if not more. And there'll probably now be congressional inquiries, and the FDA will probably stay out of it. So in our world, we're a supplement. So we have to be careful about the claims made. They're a beverage. They can get away with a whole lot more.
From a standpoint of, viral marketing, or like that one, YouTube upload or something that happens, do you kind of I don't not sit around, but do you like wait around for like when, Messi's, it's in the 89th minute of the, Messi's first game, and, he jumps over and like somebody gives him an electrolyte boost, he hits it, and then he bicycle kicks to win or something. Like, are you kind of waiting, or have you had some of those moments like, oh my God, like I can't believe this person just used this, and it's like it was on NBC at 8:00, or do you get some of those, and does that help you kind of like just say like, man, this is gonna happen, I don't know when, but like we're so close?
I'm sure Messi's watching this right now. And
listening, we got the audio going for him.
Yeah, there. So I'm sure he's got it in his pocket, ready to tear it open and down it. It hasn't happened yet. From my marketing experiential background, every brand has always said, hey, we want you to create something for buzz, right? Buzz happens when you least expect it, and it's what you never thought would be buzzworthy.
Right.
We're committed to our science, our application for all the use case scenarios. And if something viral happens within the context of what we do, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. It's more about credibility of the people using it. And we see more and more people that are using it and posting it organically on their social channels. Yeah, I would love to see Messi or anybody, instead of saying after winning a Super Bowl, I'm going to Disneyland, to say I just got boosted, right? That would be great. If that happens, we'll all be celebrating. It can, we sit in an athletic world where our product fits well for that to happen. And if it does, great. If not, we continue to plot. The other saying that always sticks in my head is it takes 25 years to be an overnight success. So you got to just plot away. I
use the same. I use the same. If you want to create value, it doesn't happen overnight. And when you want to sell the company, you'll be rewarded for the value that you've created. We had one guest on who had the largest billing company in the health club industry, who said, he was a 38-year overnight success.
Right.
That they were battling door to door, uploading people's membership lists, and to the point where they got to 14,000. So hand-to-hand combat sometimes always wins the war.
It does. I mean, and you got to be committed to your brand and your ethos. Too many brands seem to want to flip and change and don't pay enough attention. We have a really viable, efficacious product that works. And the interesting thing, we're actually complementary to all the hydration drinks that are out there, because if somebody wanted to take, any other hydration beverage mix, 2 hours later, they can certainly just take our product to elevate their electrolyte level without, damaging or competing with whatever they took before. Statistically, 75% of people are chronically, mildly DM. What is that? They're on the verge of some brain fog or sleepiness or fatigue, some muscle tiredness or cramping if it's more serious. And by taking our product, all you're doing is elevating those electrolytes. You're going to drink when you're thirsty, and you should drink when you're thirsty. But there are moments in time, if you're on conference calls or you're sitting in the office, you can't get up and you don't want to go to the bathroom and there's no water and you don't want to just tear this off, throw it in, and you get an immediate pick me up and replace the electrolytes that you've lost all day.
Great. Well, we use the term HELO, Health, Active Lifestyle, Outdoors. So thanks for helping us boost the industry. We'll get the word out, and we will follow up after the viral video I do while I'm playing pickleball and somehow gets picked up nationwide. And I'll be like, Gary, I was the guy. I was the one.
I would think your pickleball exploits would be viral.
There you go. They shall be, and I'll have some boosts with me. So thanks for coming on, and welcome to the industry.
When you come back to Manhattan Beach, we'll come down, we'll play pickleball and see if we can get a couples viral thing going.
All right, cool. Sounds great.